All right, welcome into the pilot episode. We've been talking about doing this podcast now for like 6 months, and then a bunch of shits went down. Obviously, you moved to Chicago, right? Are you back in Chicago?
I'm living in Chicago and I'm looking outside and like straight across is 290. So I'm over here like by the old post office and like a block away from the Sears Tower.
Honestly, you move like every other year. Where were you even living at?
Dude,
Indiana?
so I was the biggest thing. So I was in North Carolina for 4 years working at IMG. So that was my main sports thing. So I was at College Sports Studios there. So like that was my main job after school, and I did a lot of play-by-play stuff. But yeah, the last couple of years, man, I just do a lot more freelance stuff on top of just like sales jobs and stuff like that, and just trying to get back into it. But man, you got to go where you can go. That's the thing for until you find that time.
Well, it sucks that you moved back to Chicago and you can't even do anything now. I mean, you're
It
pretty much
is
locked down.
it is a ghost town here. Like
That's ridiculous. I'm
it's a
hoping
ghost
that
town.
I'm hoping things get better in the summer and we could fucking return to normal because this has been ridiculous. Ryan Horvat, I work at 12:50 a.m. The Fan on the morning show. You can find me on Twitter, Ryan Horvat, RyanHorvat. Clinton Cole, Clint Cole. You can find him on Twitter. Give him a follow, CD Cole 55. And dude, everybody's got to give you a follow because I'm kind of jealous. You've been killing these props and like I don't understand how you're hitting these I don't play any parlays. Like I really don't. And I've been getting burned on props. I had this weird obsession. You see, NBA props I've been hitting. For some reason, like the first 2 weeks of the season, they were giving me Dante DiVincenzo over one and a
Yeah.
half 3-pointers. I was hammering that one. NBA props, I've actually been hitting on. But NFL props, and I've been killing NBA sides NFL sides and totals this year. I've been on fire. But as far as props go, I had this weird obsession with Hollywood Brown, and every game he would fuck me over. I should have been playing all unders really this year, but all the totals, especially the first couple weeks of the season, were going over. So, I pretty much been staying away from props. In the last couple of weeks, I've been diving back in, and I've just been getting burned. So I'll have you give me some advice on those because
Yeah. So I think as you mentioned, like I don't know what it is now or whatever, but like the first 6 weeks, like that was like the highest scoring total 6 weeks in NFL history or whatever that was.
And for some reason, I was playing unders for like the first time because the totals kept just going up and up and up, and I was like, okay, this is going to be the week. Here come the unders. Here comes the defense. The problem is, man, in the NFL, like these guys can't do their jobs anymore. I feel so bad for defensive backs because anytime they actually make a play on the ball, I feel like there's a flag. It's kind of like kick returns and punt returns the last couple of years. Anytime you get a return, you'd be fucking jacked, especially if it's your team, especially if you're a Packers fan like myself and your team averages 3 yards per return and it's just getting called back. You knew there'd be laundry on the field. You knew there'd be a flag. And that's the same way I feel now. Everything's, pass interference. So those totals, I mean, the league is built for quarterbacks and wide receivers. I feel really bad for any NFL defensive players right now.
Yeah, and I think that the whole prop thing, the only reason I started doing those props is because like that first week I saw these points. I was like, okay. So I realized there's going to be points in these games. You just got to try and figure out. I mean, this sounds so simple, obviously. You just got to try and figure out a guy from each game or something like that you like the most, and try and parlay that with just like you just rank them 1 through 10, and then you put them together, and obviously you just hope for the best. But I did kind of come up with something. I'm obviously not gonna share what it is, but it's not even difficult. It's basically common sense, and obviously it's luck too. You gotta there's a huge sense of luck in the whole thing. But the parlays, at first I was doing these wild parlays, man, just like 5, 6, 7 leg touchdown. And I hit a couple of them, but then I would also miss like 1 or 2 on each one. And then unless you do a round robin, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So then I started dialing back to maybe 2 or 3 and then doing a lot more per bet. And that seemed to really, really help. Now, with last week where the 2 triple headers, that was awesome because I started doing this for every single game, picking someone from every single game.
Yeah.
And it was working, but there are also times where, I obviously didn't work. I think I only had 2 NFL weekends where I actually lost money.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and there were some weekends where I would just, break even, which whatever, you get your money back, do it again. And so, but there were only 2 weekends where I actually lost money from what I put in this.
In this season, I mean, that's pretty impressive because this season, obviously with COVID and, I mean, I've kind of changed my betting strategy where I used to bet on Sunday. I used to wake up early and then like I do my research throughout the week. Like if there's something I really liked when the opening lines came out, I'd hit it. Or like if I was looking at the look ahead lines and there's something I really, really liked, maybe I'd play it on Monday or Tuesday. But I mean, especially when I was gambling illegally, before everything was legalized, especially in Illinois, my bookie, the guy that I was going through, he wouldn't let me, he wouldn't take any bets except for on game day. So that sucks. So I couldn't play anything until Sunday, but it worked out because you could check the weather report. Right. I don't really give a shit about the weather report, to be quite honest with you. I look at obviously injuries and I do look at what the market looks like, where the sharp money's coming in at. But again, I don't even pay, I don't even pay too much attention to that right now because I think a lot of it's bullshit. Like Las Vegas, like, these books aren't going to tell you, they're not going to give you all this information, especially in a year like this. So it's been tough, especially like I cover the Green Bay Packers and Matt LaFleur gives you absolutely nothing on the injury report. Like if a guy's not practicing, like for Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, when they were dinged up this year, there were game time decisions when they finally did make their return. So you never knew when these guys were even freaking coming back. So that's been the toughest part about betting NFL for me this year. But I've came away on top this year. It was a rough start though. The first couple of weeks I was playing unders, like I said, and I was getting screwed over. Last couple of weeks I've been on fire though. I've actually placed a bet on every single game this weekend. So since this is our first podcast, the pilot episode, I figured I'll give you a rundown of open bets that I have right now, because one thing that I hate, like on some of these podcasts, you could tell that these guys are giving you advice and they're not even wagering. They're not betting on any of these games. So I got a couple of these that are open right now that I'll read off. Tell me what you like and what you don't like. I played a Super Bowl 22 p.m. I placed the Super Bowl winners. I placed the NFL regular season MVP prop on Aaron Rodgers on April 25th at 8:55 a.m. Now I'll admit, man, Rodgers the last couple of years, I feel like, the knock on him was he was on the back nine of his career, blah, 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 that he wasn't he wasn't an elite quarterback anymore. But 2 years ago, he played on one leg. I mean, you're a Bears fan. You remember week one, like he broke his freaking leg and then played on one leg, and Mike McCarthy was a disaster that year. They went 6-9-1, and he got fired after they lost to the Arizona Cardinals and Josh Rosen at home at Lambeau Field. So McCarthy gets fired. Rodgers stunk that year. They released Jordy Nelson. They brought in, Jimmy Graham. I mean, Jimmy Graham had a nice year for you guys this year.
Great this year.
He sucked the 2 years in Green Bay. I mean, he's a great teammate, great locker room guy, but he just looked like he was past his prime. That's why I was kind of jealous this year when, for you guys, for the Bears, he became a red zone target and was catching touchdowns. But, he played on one leg. They drafted 3 rookie wide receivers. None of them are very good. I mean, I guess MVS is what he is, but I mean, St. Brown, Jamon Moore, I think he's working at a car wash somewhere. He's not even in the league.
I don't even know who that is.
And then last year, exactly, he's not even in the freaking league anymore, man. And then last year, it was year one in a complicated offense under Matt LaFleur. He was calling plays off a wristband the entire season. So this year, you knew he was going to be better year 2. You knew he was going to be fully healthy. And Devontae Adams is a beast. He's a stud. He caught 18 touchdowns this season. So I played this MVP prop, and I threw $100 on it, and I got it plus 2,200. So
oh my God.
I mean, I will be shocked if he doesn't win the MVP here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I really like that one. And then I played a couple NBA props.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think of these. Season win totals. I played the under on OKC under 23. So the Bulls play OKC tonight. Talk me off of the Bulls, because I'm like 5 seconds away from placing that bet right now. I kind of like the Bulls tonight.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that. They get Lowry back tonight too. So that's it. That from what I saw earlier today, they were Bulls were a minus 1 point. What are they at now? Is that where
they're 1 point favorites on the road? So that's what's kind of scaring me off. And I'm looking at it, and again, a lot of this could be BS, but I see 95% of the money on the Bulls, 89% of the tickets. So that is the only thing that scares me a little bit is the public is all on the Bulls too. But I mean,
I'm looking at
OKC
the
is a
take,
freaking
take this for whatever it's worth. The ESPN matchup predictor, it's at 57.6% going towards the Thunder. So I mean, yeah. So I don't know what you want to do with that. It's a number. I mean, it's a not a number, but a stat. I don't even call it a stat. Whatever it is, it's figure obviously with it's analytically driven. That's showing way more towards the Thunder. So I mean, I think the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls. Their game was canceled Tuesday. They're postponed, whatever you want to call it. They haven't played, and it seems like, they played in March and then they didn't play until December. It feels like that again. It feels like 6 months since they've played. I don't know. The injury report for the Bulls, nobody's out except Arcidiacono, which I couldn't care less about that.
Yeah, you know what? I was kind of high on the Bulls this year. And then the first time that I tuned in, he checked into a game with that fucking man bun, and I was like, all right, I'm out on the Bulls. Why is this guy on the roster?
Yeah, I don't need him.
You know what's crazy about the Bulls? Like, when you think about it, man, their backcourt should be Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose right now.
Yeah, I love Derrick Rose with all of my heart. So sad times when he left, and Jimmy left,
but Derrick Rose was great last year. Like, Derrick Rose could still give you.
Yes, like last year he was better than a serviceable point guard or whatever you want to call him, point guard, whatever you want to guard in the NBA. And the Bulls have nothing. They don't have a point guard right now. They have Thomas Satoransky, which I don't need to see him. I'm good.
They have like all the same dude. Like, why would I don't
over, but whatever. He would have been great. But yeah, as far as tonight goes, man, I don't know. I think getting Lowry back and the extra rest, I think the Bulls are going to win tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Bulls, man. I think I'm just going to take them. I think I'm going to take them on the money line. I see the public on Oklahoma City. I'm going to go with the Bulls. And then, I'll just throw this one out there too. I kind of like Memphis on the road tonight. They're dogs, 1.5 though. Minnesota favored by 1.5 at home. I was leaning Memphis. And then here's what I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, so I was leaning the Bucks tonight. They're 7.5 point favorites though. I really like this Dallas team.
Yes.
I like this Dallas team a lot because the difference between this Mavericks team and last year's Mavericks team is they defend. Like, they surprisingly are a very good defensive team. They got Porzingis back the other night. I know he's on a minutes restriction, but he looked damn good. Luka was struggling to shoot the three early in the season, but I mean, he's great. He's my favorite player to watch in the league. I pretty much bought League Pass this year because I didn't know what the season was going to look like, man. I bought it pretty much for Luka and then Ja got hurt right away, which fucking sucked. Yeah. But Luka is just, I mean, he's amazing to watch. He's must-see TV.
He's a lot of fun. The Bulls played him they played Dallas without Luka a couple nights ago or whenever it was last week, and they beat the Mavericks. But I've seen the Mavericks play, I would say 3 or 4 times already this season, and they're a fun team to watch. Another guy, so we're talking about NBA props, the guy that, watching these games, a guy that gets his shots is Tim Hardaway Jr. It's a matter of if he's going to make them on a night or not, but he has the shots every night where you have to look at the over of his points at least, or his 3-pointers, and kind of run through the numbers and see. Because with some of these props, not only do I look at the averages and stuff, but how many shots they're getting. Right. If they're not getting the shots, it doesn't matter what their percentage is. If they're getting, if they're shooting 8-10 times a game and their over is like 10 points, then I'm going to seriously look at that. And Tim Hardaway is a guy who'll get his shots. Now, I don't know how much that's going to change with KP back, but there's only so many shots for a team per game. So that's something to take a look at. But yeah, the Mavericks are a fun team to watch. And yeah, they play defense. A team I wanted to bring out that doesn't play tonight, I don't think. Yeah, and that is the Denver Nuggets. Have you watched Jokic this season?
Yeah.
I mean, that he's got 5 triple doubles. I mean, he's incredible. I really started paying attention to them last year in the bubble and kind of watching, or I guess this past season in the bubble.
2 months ago in the bubble. I keep doing it too, though.
Yeah.
They were one of my favorite teams. Obviously, the Suns were fun, but they didn't make the playoffs. But they didn't lose a game either. But Jamal Murray became a superstar in the bubble.
Yeah, and that's every time they're on TV, I try and sit down and watch them. They're a fun team.
Yeah.
As far as the Bucks tonight, man, I mean, 7.5 is a lot of points. I mean,
see, that's what I want to say, man. So they fucked me against Detroit. I don't know if you caught that game. It was one of the worst beats that I've taken. Dude shoots a fucking 3 at the buzzer in a meaningless goddamn game, drills it, and I had them. I actually bought the hook too, so it was 10.5.
Mm.
I had the Bucks 10-point favorites, and they end up winning by 9 points off one of the worst backdoors because a lot of times, let's say like I got a team and they're 11. This is why I hate betting basketball, especially college basketball.
Oh man,
I'll have an 11-point dog, and they'll be down. They'll be trailing by 9. The other team's dribbling out the clock. They're up 9, and I'm covering. I'm happy. I'm about to go to the window and make my money. All of a sudden, said team that's down fucking 9 points in this college basketball game, or even in the NBA occasionally, will foul. Why? With 10 seconds left. Team will hit the 2 free throws. So then it's like, okay, well, they fouled. So you would think they'll attempt a field goal here. They'll at least shoot the basketball. And then they'll just dribble out the clock or set it down or something.
Nothing else happens. Yeah, nothing else.
Phony as fuck. That's why, dude, I love that I got a couple more weeks of football that I could focus on. Right. So pretty much those that's what I'm doing in the NBA, man, is I'm leaning the Bulls. I kind of like Memphis, and I think I'm going to stay away from the Bucks tonight because I can honestly, 7.5 points is a lot of points, like you said. And I love the Bucks, but I could see the Mavs winning this game, man. They're a good defensive team. Porzingis, I think honestly, even I don't know how many minutes he's going to play tonight. That's the thing. And like I like that Hardaway prop. Like what do they got that at tonight? Probably 2.5.
I haven't looked. Let me look right now. While I'm looking at this, another game tonight that's kind of intriguing is the Celtics in the Magic. 2.5 for the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics they're pretty. I don't know how I want to characterize the Celtics, but I don't know that I kind of like that number. I don't know about you.
You like Boston or you like Orlando?
I like Boston in that one. I kind of think. I don't know. I kind of think Boston 2.5. That's again looking at this number, and I don't use these numbers a lot when I'm doing sides, but 81.5% chance the Celtics are winning tonight, according to this, and they're getting 2.5 points, 2.5 points. So I don't know. That seems kind of. I think I might go with the. I might do a little parlay with the Celtics, and might go Celtics and Bulls. Little parlay action. Those two tonight, but the Tim Hardaway prop. Not Tim Hardaway, Tim Hardaway Jr. prop for his points is at 17.5, and Porzingis is at 16.5. So right about the same.
Probably stay off both of those. Actually.
Yeah, those are a little high. So before, like when I was doing the Hardaway props, he was at like 11, 11 points.
I like like you mentioned the field goal attempts. I like the 3-pointers. I like if I could get a number like 2.5 with him, because even with Porzingis back, what is Hardaway gonna do? He's gonna shoot threes. We know that.
Right.
So I look at that number. The one thing on Boston tonight, that they got several dudes though questionable right now because of COVID protocols. So Jaylen Brown's a game time decision. I don't know, man. I may lean. I would talk you out of that one by telling you that 52% of the tickets on Boston, 59% of the money coming in on the Magic. I think that's a weird number though. Like you said, I mean, it seems too good to be true. Boston at home, 2.5-point favorites. I think that if we get close to game time, see, here's what's scary about that though. Okay. So as you get close to game time, let's say that everybody's going to play tonight and Jaylen Brown's going to be out there, then that number is going to go up and it's probably going to go up to like 4.5, 5. Then I don't like it as much because I can see Orlando covering that number. If you take it now, shit, man, I'm not going to lie. I need to know who's going to be out there for Boston because I could see like Peyton Pritchard going off tonight for 20 points. He's been playing freaking good. I don't even know when Kemba's coming back. Yeah,
that's the thing with this is why I usually don't bet games that don't include the Bulls because it's just so hard to tell. Like when I know what the Bulls are without someone or with, you know what I mean? That type of thing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch a ton of Boston Celtics games in terms of who they're, as you mentioned, Peyton Pritchard. Obviously, we know who Peyton Pritchard is, but an average team, I don't know. Like when the Sixers had 15 people out a couple weeks ago or whenever it was last week, like I didn't even come close to that. And then Maxey drops like 40 points back-to-back nights or whatever that was, some nonsense. There's no way you can predict that. Like you don't know what's going to happen on that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If you do a little parlay with the Bulls and the Celtics cover and it's plus 265, that's not too bad. But it is quite a risk with the knowing who's not going to play tonight. Though.
Yeah, I gotta wait and see who's playing in that game. So all right, do you think the Thunder are gonna win 24 games? Going back to that real quick, because I'm starting to get nervous because the Thunder are bad, but they're not as freaking bad as I thought. Now, for this bet to go through, a team has to play a minimum of 68 games, no more than 72, obviously. I don't know, man. I think OKC could get to 24. Was that a bad bet? I thought that they were just going to be freaking awful. And this is a good draft coming up. The next two drafts are a lot better than that bullshit we saw last year.
So I thought last draft was terrible. It's awful. I do think Patrick Williams is going to be really good, but I mean, it wasn't. I don't think there's any franchise changers. I mean,
I'm OKC though. I'm tanking the shit out of this season.
Yeah. So one thing I want to mention with OKC is some props I've been hitting is with Dort lately. Man, so he is. I like him, and sometimes what I do with him is the points, rebounds, assists prop. And so I kind of just throw all those in together. I mean, it's a one prop thing. So you go into the player props and it's down at the bottom where it's points, rebounds, assists. He doesn't have one tonight, but like his made threes over 1.5, like he's usually good for one. And so then you just take a look and see, is there value for him to make that other three? Like tonight it's at negative -158. So I'm not touching that unless I put it in part of a parlay. So, but Dort's a guy, I don't know. Shea, man, I don't know. They're not very good. They're not very good. Dude.
I don't know though. 24 seems reasonable. And then I played a couple of overs.
Do you know what the Bulls was at the beginning of the season?
What was it?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Their win total? No, I didn't play it. I played two more. I played two overs, which I usually go all unders on these win totals. Like I was so tempted, and I love them, but I was tempted to play the Bucks win total under just because I'm hoping that Mike Budenholzer's realized like they've went really hard in the regular season.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think he realized it's time maybe to tone it down a little bit towards the end.
Now, they don't play as many minutes. That's a problem with Bud, is his rotations are too deep. He doesn't have like the Thibodeau syndrome where he's playing guys 40 minutes against like fucking Orlando, but still. Let's see here. I got the Suns over 39.5. I love that. I love the Suns.
I feel like the Suns were, one of those teams coming in. You got, you saw what they did with Booker and with Ayton, and then they bring in a guy like Paul, who, I mean, there aren't many point guards in history better than Chris Paul. I mean, you can.
I know I hate him, but
I absolutely cannot stand him. One of my best friends loves Chris Paul, and I'm just like, I hate Chris Paul. He's a good guy, or not. I don't know about good guy, but good player. But he's just one of those guys you don't like. But yeah, so that's a good one. I mean, that coming into the season, the Suns are one of those hot teams where it's like, each year there's a team where this team might take that jump this year, and obviously that's the Suns this year. And what are they doing so far for you?
Winning games. I mean,
yeah,
so far
exactly.
they're exciting to watch. I mean, I love Devin Booker. He is awesome in the bubble. Like him, Jamal Murray. I mean, fucking Melo. Those were my all bubble players, man. Like those guys were awesome.
The entire Miami.
Austin Rivers.
And then Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and all.
Yeah, Tyler Hero, man. Still this year though, he had 34 the other night too. I played his over. That was nice. So then I love that Suns. I mean, anytime you upgrade Ricky Rubio or Chris Paul from Ricky Rubio, right. I like that. And then I took the Blazers over 41.5, and they've been surprisingly good. Minus last night because I did trust them. That was another one that burned me last night. Is I took them. Indiana had just traded Depot. Malcolm Brogdon, though, has been playing great. That's a guy where if you're playing props right now, man,
dude, yes.
Until he loses you money, play his points, rebounds, and assists every single night. Now, last night, like the point total went up a little bit last night. He was at like 22.5, 23. But still, I mean, you have to look at it like there's no Depot anymore. Right now, I mean, he's playing with the ball in his hands the entire game. So I look at the assist numbers, and sometimes they're 7.5, 8. I don't like that, but the points, rebounds, and assists, those have been hitting. All right, let's get into some. Unless you got any more NBA.
Yeah, real quick. You mentioned the Pacers. Sabonis is a guy, man. He fills the stat sheet too.
Rebounds every night, over rebounds.
Yep, for Sabonis. I'm trying to think any other NBA stuff. I hit the biggest. I just started this new system for NBA props like 2 nights ago, and I got my money back plus another third of what I invested. So it worked. But the biggest one I hit was a Nicholas Batum over 8.5 points. And it was plus 108 money too. And you just have to search for little things.
You like those low totals? Like, do you look for the low totals? Like the other night, like, okay, so I'll look for like Draymond Green over 7.5 points.
I look for low totals like that if they're 3-point shooters.
Yeah. See, Draymond fucked me. He had 7 points. I played over 7.5 the other night. He had 7 points with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Didn't score the rest of the night. It was that blew. Here, let me before we dive into some. I want to do
last one real quick. Julius Randle, he has been on a tear for the Knicks, and he gets his every night. So Julius Randle's another name to keep an eye on when you're doing some props. But yeah, let's whatever you got.
Real quick before we'll do some let's do some NFL, but I actually got all my props up. These are all updated now for the NBA tonight. So actually I want to throw a couple of your way.
Sure.
Let's go with the I want to get your thoughts on some of these Bulls props. Because I lean Bulls tonight, but I don't know. What about what do you think, Zach? Over 26.5 points tonight or under? -120 is the over. If anything, I kind of like the under against OKC.
You're -1. I've got -110 on the over here with a little FanDuel action.
Is the total 26.5 still though?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Against OKC tonight. Who's going to be guarding them?
Nobody. I mean, like, I don't know. Zach is obviously a volume shooter, and he's one of those guys that each night where he's going to get his points. It's just a matter of, you looking at the opponent, and this isn't going to be a game where the Bulls are going to blow him out and then he's not going to play the fourth quarter. So he's going to be in there. He's going to get his shot attempts up. I think he goes over. I really do. I'm thinking a 30-point game tonight for Zach LaVine.
You brought up your guy Dort tonight. Over under on points, 11.5. That one's juiced up where I got it, -130.
Yeah, mine's a 124. That's not something I would do individually. I would throw that into a parlay, maybe. Just kind of, I mean, I like the 11.5, but I would throw that into a parlay. I wouldn't do that by itself. I don't really think.
What about the 3-pointers over 1.5? Yay or nay?
For Dort.
Oh, no, never mind. -130.
Mine's -158. So.
Wow. Dude, I got a 130 right here if you want me to throw it down for you.
Nuts.
Okay, and then let's see here. The one other one I wanted to check on. Let's see where this number's at tonight. I wanted to look at Dante DiVincenzo.
Okay.
3-pointers on the evening. Over 1.5, baby, -130.
Well.
Against the Mavs. You know what? Actually, I don't love that against the Mavs.
Why not?
I actually, dude, I'm staying away from the NBA tonight because I'm up a little bit of cash right now, and I want to enjoy it with these 4 NFL games that begin tomorrow at 3:35 Lambeau Field. My Green Bay Packers taking on the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm not going to lie, I did something stupid here. I bought some points because, if anything, I really, really, really liked the Rams when they were 7-point dogs. I just think that that's a big number for a good defensive team. I talked about it on the radio all day today. A lot of people here are overconfident because Jared Goff just had thumb surgery 3 weeks ago. Not even 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago. He's coming to Lambeau Field. He's 0-2 or 1-1, something like that in cold weather games. I know he's thrown 1 touchdown to like 4 interceptions. He sucks in cold weather. Obviously, he went to Cal. He's from the West Coast. He's coming to Lambeau Field. It's going to be cold as shit. He doesn't play well in the cold weather. But honestly, man, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago in the game against Seattle where Goff was terrible and got picked off and he was really bad. The next week when they played Arizona, McVay put in this new game plan and they scored 30 points without Jared Goff throwing the ball over 20 yards. Everything was dink and dunk, get rid of the ball quickly, and Cam Akers has been a beast. I mean, you just saw it against Seattle, both running the ball. I mean, he could do it all. So even with Goff being a disaster, I think McVay will find a way to put up points. And I think the Rams are going to keep it close. I think this is going to be a field goal game. I do like Green Bay because I love Aaron Rodgers in the cold weather. I love Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field. I mean, Rodgers, if you look at his record in the NFC title games, he's only got 1 win, and that came against Chicago at Soldier Field, as you know, and he didn't even play well in that game, though. I mean, the defense won him that game. But he's never
played for the Bears way back when, yeah.
He's never played an NFC title game at Lambeau Field. He's got the opportunity to do that this year.
That's a crazy stat. That is a crazy stat to think about.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And the only year that he had a chance and they got beat in the divisional round by the Giants years back. And I'm nervous because I keep saying it. This Rams team reminds me of that Giants team where they could run the football and they get after the quarterback, as we just saw against Seattle. Would they sack Russell Wilson 4 or 5 times in that game? Aaron Donald, I know he's probably got a broken rib. That guy's not human, though. That guy doesn't feel pain like we feel pain. He's a cyborg sent from hell to terrorize quarterbacks, dude. Your boy Leonard Floyd, after you guys gave up on him, 10.5 sacks this year. Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in the league. I got him right there with Jair Alexander. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be low scoring. I bought points all the way to -145, where I took the Packers as 4-point favorites. I bought 3 points in this game at the time on January 12th. I don't love that I did it. I can't root against my team. If I'm giving out a pick for people to, I mean, I'm torn on this one, man, because I could see the Rams covering the number. I could also see Green Bay, though, coming out. Here's what happens in this game, right? This game either goes two ways. If the Rams have the lead at halftime or it's even close, I'm scared shitless for the second half, and I'm pacing around my house because Sean McVay, when he has a lead going into the half, is 37-0. You want to talk about a ridiculous freaking stat, man. That's ridiculous right there. Meanwhile, the Packers this season have outscored opponents in the first half by a ridiculous number, especially in the second quarter. They just destroy teams. Matt LaFleur, that's what he does best. He scripts plays. You know, they come out well prepared and they put points up, and then they kind of fall asleep sometimes in the second half. I'm fine with that if that's the case against the Rams. If they have a 2-score, 3-score lead, if they're up 14-17 at any time in this ball game, Green Bay's going to win. If the Rams keep it close, though, that's what concerns me, because the Rams are going to look to run the football with Cam Akers because Goff's already injured. Even if Goff was healthy, they're going to dink and dunk. They're going to use Tyler Higbee a lot. They're going to use their tight ends because tight ends kill Green Bay. You know, they're going to scheme their way down the field. But I don't think they're built to play from behind, with Goff injured especially. And the Packers defense has been pretty damn good the last couple of weeks as well. I mean, they've picked things up. I'm not going to say they shut Derrick Henry down, but they held him under 100 yards, and nobody did that all year. So honestly, I could see the Rams keeping it close. I do like the Packers to win, but it's 6.5, 7. I mean, put it this way, man. I mean, it opened on the look-ahead line at 7, 60%. Again, this could be bullshit. 60% of the bets on the Packers, and yet the total, or not the total, it goes down to 6.5. The spread goes down to 6.5. So sharp money, obviously, on the Rams, but I don't know. I don't like betting against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field in the playoffs. So I took the Packers. I bought a bunch of points. I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it. I also wouldn't recommend the money line just because, I mean, come on now. Anything could happen in the playoffs. And like I said, man, I could see this Rams team, I hate to say it, beating the Packers. And so somebody's getting upset this weekend. Agree or disagree?
If you call by the book, well, okay. So the only game that I think, well,
not even spread wise, just somebody's going down, like one of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I think either the Bucs or Ravens have a good chance. I don't think the Rams do, but I think the Bucs or the Ravens have a chance to go on the road and beat the teams that are favored. I'm not saying they're going to, but I think there's a chance. We'll get to those in a second. But as far as this game goes, I don't think the Rams are going to win. I obviously hate the Packers, but I don't see the Packers losing this game.
Would you bet on them even though you hate them? Because then you have to root for them.
Yeah, so they're part of this teaser I did with tease them down to a half a point. So, I mean, they're part of a 4-game parlay teaser that I did for all 4 games. And, yeah, I don't know if they're going to win by 1 or 90, but I think they're going to win.
So did you tease them down to 1 or a pick 'em?
Half. Just
half? Okay.
Yeah. So,
give me what are the other legs that you got on that one? On that
Browns
teaser?
plus 16. The Bucs plus 9 and the Ravens plus 8. And I put $1.25 for all of that together, plus 240. So $1.25 to win 300.
I like that.
So even, so all 3 of those teams outside of the Packers game, all of those underdogs, the Browns, I think they can keep within 16. I think the Bucs will keep within 9 points, and I think the Ravens will keep within 8 points.
So again, that's the thing. Like Kansas City, they haven't covered all season long, and it's because they freaking toy with teams. I mean, they're 14-2, but we don't count week 17. They didn't play anybody. But they should have
lost that. They should have lost that Chargers game way back. Do you remember that game? They were losing the whole game, And then at the last second they scored, and then they had a bomb in overtime and won or whatever that was. So yeah, whatever.
There's so many games that team should
Yeah.
they should have lost twice in the playoffs last year. The Texans had a 3-score lead against them,
That was
and then
incredible.
Bill O'Brien lost his goddamn mind and decided to fake a punt. And then the Titans had a 2-score lead on them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like that's the one team, man. Like where I said like the Rams can't play from behind. The Chiefs like love the challenge. Like Mahomes, that like gets them off, man.
Yeah.
That fucking offense, there's nothing you could do about it. I'm going with the thing about the Packers, man. So I know that the Rams are probably the sexy pick, but if you're into the stupid trends or the numbers, I do got a couple that do tell you to take Green Bay.
Okay.
The last 6 games against Green Bay, the Rams are 0-6 against the spread. They did beat the Packers that year that McCarthy got fired. But if you remember that game, it was one of the worst beats in gambling history because Todd Gurley had a clear path to the end zone to score, and he did the smart football play, and he went down to keep the clock running, and they didn't cover the number, and people were pissed off because it was.
He did the exact opposite earlier this year, right? When they played the Lions,
and they lost the game.
Yes, that was. He kind of like he stopped it, got a fell into these. Same guy. That's crazy that he's done that. There's two.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like if you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Right.
If you score, then you're leaving too much time on the clock. If you go down, like let's say you like fumble that snap, like we don't see that ever when somebody's just taking a knee. But crazy shit happens.
Anything can happen. It's wild. But yeah,
exactly. So they're 0-6, and then Green Bay is 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games overall, and they are 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 January games, including last year at home against Seattle at Lambeau Field in the playoffs in the divisional round. So I will. I'm fine with my Green Bay pick. I'll stick with that one. Let's go to the night game. I think we're going to be on the same pick here. I love the Ravens in this game. I actually got them as 3-point dogs. I think they could win this one outright. Now, I also have a Bills 9-1 Super Bowl future that I played a couple weeks back just to get to the Super Bowl. I just think, if any team's going to upset the Chiefs,
that's it.
I think it's probably the Ravens because I think that the Ravens could run the football on them, obviously. And I think the Ravens are good enough defensively. Not that they're going to shut Mahomes down, but they could, hold maybe Mahomes to 30 points, 31 points, and they could put up points if Lamar's playing like he has been and if they're able to run the football with Dobbins and whatnot. But, with the Bills, man, I don't trust them defensively, but they could score points. Like Josh Allen is all of a sudden the most complete quarterback in the league. The guy's ridiculous. So I did play that future, but in this game, I like the Ravens. Man, I hate going against the Bills. Like I said, this year, they've been so fun to watch, but just again, last week, like defensively, I don't trust them right now. Whereas the Ravens had to win to get in. So they're playing their best football right now. And those are always the scariest teams to me. It's like the last pack, like the only Super Bowl Rodgers ever won. They weren't even great that year. He was injured at times. They had to have Matt Flynn save their season. They had to win to get in. They had to beat the Bears just to get in. Yeah. And then those Giants teams that had to win to get in. Shit, man. And so that's what's scary. They had to play their best football, and they're doing that right now. They're running the football. Lamar Jackson, there was a time this season, like the first couple of weeks of the season, where I think he wanted to be a drop back quarterback so much that he wasn't using his legs as much. Now he's just like, fuck it, man. I know what I got to do to win these games. I like the Ravens here. I love the Ravens here. This is my number one bet. It's like 4 units that I got on the Ravens. So if they lose, if they don't cover this spread, I might go missing on Sunday.
So I think the only team that can beat the Chiefs in the AFC is the Bills, which is very interesting. So a couple years ago, I was talking to my cousin, and we were talking about quarterbacks coming out of the draft, and I told him, I said, he asked me what quarterback I would take, and out of the draft at that time, and I told him Josh Allen, right? Because you just look and you see where the NFL is going outside. Patrick Mahomes, obviously a freak of nature. Lamar Jackson, a freak of nature, right? Yeah. So that's a different situation we've got over. Like the Mike Vick, like that whole thing, that's different. Josh Allen is shades of both Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson in terms of his wheels and his arm and the smarts. So it was just like, man, I wish the Bears could have gotten Josh Allen. Now, obviously his first year, it was a little whatever. Then last year is when I really started paying attention to him. And then they came up short a little bit in the playoffs. But this year, Josh Allen has turned into a top 5 quarterback in the game.
He's got a hose.
I mean, yeah, like I just think what they can do. Now, I don't know if losing Zach Moss is what that's going to do for him. if there's one area they need to upgrade, it's the running back position.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, I mean, look great, but they're not a number one running back on most teams, either one of them. So I think that's one area they can, but he has so many weapons as well. I mean, Steph Diggs, an incredible year. Cole Beasley, the best slot receiver in the game. And then you even go to Gabriel Davis, the guy who out of UCF that's
especially lately.
Yeah, he's been great lately. Just Dawson Knox. I mean, he's got so many weapons, but the only thing is that defense. You said it. They have some good players in that secondary, but man, which is why it's tough. I think they can get past the Ravens, which is why I tease them to the 8. I don't think it's going to be any more than that. But there is also that chance for the Ravens to win. So that's kind of what I did. I don't think there's any chance the Bills win this by more than 2 possessions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. And again, man, I don't like going against the Bills. They got some magic this year. And Josh Allen, like what I loved about Josh Allen when he came, I didn't think he was going to be a great thrower of the football. I thought he was going to be a great athlete. I thought he'd be able to make enough plays. I knew he could throw the deep ball. But what I loved about him, man, is like, he's the kind of guy that like he goes into the huddle and the linemen and his teammates just fucking love him because he is just he's the kind of guy that you want behind. He's the kind of franchise quarterback you want. Like his teammates buy into him. Like he's not afraid to get hit. He'll run with the football. He's not sliding. He's a big dude. I don't know. I mean, he's just got all the leadership qualities that I'd be looking for in a quarterback. I love him. He could just make some ridiculous plays. Like the thing that he does this year is, doesn't it always look like so a play will be broken and he'll scramble and he'll have nowhere to go and it'll look like he's just running out of bounds, and he's just going to take the season. He doesn't want to get hit. He's just going to take the loss. And he'll just like fling up this, like, he looks like he's throwing the ball away and he'll find like a fucking receiver, or Diggs will like somehow be open in the end zone. Like the plays he's making are ridiculous. So I don't like going against him. But what scares me is what you said, right? I don't know about the loss of Zach Moss. I think is going to be big because Devin Singletary. I thought Devin Singletary was going to have a big year, but they can't run the football, and so that's fine against teams like Tennessee, against teams with weak secondaries. But against the Ravens, man, I think they're going to be very one-dimensional unless Josh Allen's just going to make the plays with his legs, which is very possible. I just think that with the Ravens, I think it's tough to be one-dimensional. I think you have to run the football and open things up with the play action a little bit. I like Baltimore here. So I'm going to go Baltimore and I'm going to go Green Bay on Saturday. I like that teaser though. I really do. And then it keeps my Bills prop alive as well, because I do think the Bills could win this game too. I wanted the hook on the 3.5, but this opened up the Bills opened up at my book when I got it. Is pretty much a pick 'em, is a 1-point favorite.
Really?
So I was looking at, I waited to get the 3. At the time, the 3.5 would have been minus 150.
The other thing real quick about Josh Allen, that is just absolutely remarkable.
Oh, you don't have to be real quick when it comes to Josh Allen, dude. My 2 favorite quarterbacks not named Aaron Rodgers are Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. So this is like really tough. This is like really tough. I said this is like the toughest thing since like, I mean, if you watch like Saved by the Bell, it was like, like when Zach and Slater were fighting for Kelly Kapowski. It's like, God damn, I like both of these guys.
We got an ad playing. The most impressive thing I think for me about Josh Allen is what his accuracy has improved from the numbers.
Yes.
The biggest thing, I'm just reading this article. His rookie season, his accuracy dipped to 52.8% completion rate. 52.8.
Oh shit.
It was at 69.2 this year. Like that's almost 20. He's hitting 2 out of 10 more passes. That is incredible. Like that's you don't. So big things coming out of college for these quarterbacks is, yeah, you can coach them up, whatever. But some of the one thing a lot of people say that you really can't improve on that much is your accuracy.
Right.
If you can hit someone in college, you can hit someone, right? But if you can't, then it's like, how do they improve it? And what Josh Allen has done has taken him from, the middle tier because of all of his tools to now an elite quarterback because of those accuracy improvements.
Well, exactly. And it's remarkable. It really is. And, they said that that's all he did the last 2 off seasons, man, is he just worked and worked and worked. But still, like that's something that you really like. how many quarterbacks could throw the deep ball but just couldn't improve their accuracy? Like it's just like impossible to do what he's done. I thought that, again, I like Josh Allen, but I never thought he'd be an MVP candidate. And if Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes don't put up the years that they did, don't put up those kind of stats this season, Josh Allen's your MVP. They're not going to give it to a running back ever again, man. I mean, Derrick Henry had a great year. He wasn't winning MVP. It would have been Josh Allen if it wasn't for Rodgers and for Mahomes.
Agreed.
And who knows? Maybe Josh Allen finishes ahead of Mahomes. I don't know, because Mahomes didn't even play Week 17. Josh Allen played. He didn't have to play in that game. I love Josh Allen. I love Lamar Jackson. I just want to see. This is why I need the Packers to win, because if they lose, that's what I hate about being the first game, dude. And it's also like, I'm not trying to just talk shit and rub it in because you're a Bears fan and your team's done. But it's almost like a relief. You can sit back and enjoy the games this weekend. I got a stomach ulcer right now, man. My team may have COVID. Jared Valdir gets picked up after playing for the Colts, brings, the Rona into the building. I got nothing to worry.
You're not, obviously, I would like for the Bears to still be in it, but yeah, you're right. Like Saturday.
It's always next year, man. You got Pace and you got Nagy coming back.
Man, the Bears have such a bright future. We've got everything in control. We've got the pieces. We've got the quarterback. We have our number one wide receiver. So it's great. The defense is getting younger. It's not getting older. So it's really looking great to be a Bears fan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Tons of draft capital. It's not like you guys gave anything up for,
No, and we've got a front office made of football people, not just a family that's owned the team for 500 years. So, it's really great. So
no shit.
Let me give you some props for this game real quick. The ones I like.
For Saturday. Just give me the whole day for Saturday. I got nothing for Saturday prop wise.
Yeah. So I don't know. It logged me out here. I don't know what weird thing. All right. So going back to the Packers game, tell me what you think about both Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams rushing overs. The number 4, Aaron Jones, is what I usually like to do with Aaron Jones is a passing or receiving and rushing prop.
Yeah.
Because some games he might break off a 60-yard run and then you've already hit. But then in other games where he doesn't, they start blowing teams out and then Jamal Williams gets the majority of the carries towards the end of the line.
And now you got to worry about A.J. Dillon too. Cold weather game. Right. Playoffs against that defense, against that front four. You got to worry about him stealing carries now too. Jones
and Williams rushing props are significantly lower than their season averages. I don't know if you take a look. Jones is at 69.5 and Williams is at 18.5.
Okay, so right now
obviously they're going against the Rams defense.
Yep. They give up, I know this off the top of my head because I'm a psychopath. They give up 3.8 yards per carry, and they give up 93 yards per game only on the ground. Passing, they've only given up 17 touchdown receptions this year. Devontae Adams by himself has 18, and they only give up 193 passing yards per game. Dude, that's why I'm scared.
But something's going to happen though. I mean, the Packers aren't going to score 7 points. So something's got to happen. And man, what I did in terms of the rushing and receiving is I went Jamal Williams over 28.5.
Both?
Yes. For rushing and receiving, Jamal Williams, 28.5.
Oh, I love that. I honestly, I'm seeing the rushing yards right now, 21.5, and I'm actually going to lock that in with you right now for Jamal. Now, the only thing that does scare me, the only thing that may fuck us here.
Wait, you have it at 21.5?
I got it at 21.5. I got minus 115.
So my Jamal Williams is 18.5, and that was last night.
Which it's gone up here. I don't know if we want to talk about the book. I mean, I don't give a shit, but I'm not going to play this at. You got an 18.5?
Yeah.
Okay, shot for the best numbers again. What I'm looking at here is kind of some bullshit that I'm dealing with because you're in Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm stuck here in Wisconsin where I gotta do some things if you know what I mean. You got it legally right there. You're gonna get some better numbers.
Right.
And you guys got all those dope ass promos too, dude, where I cross the border every once in a while. Like for instance, my dad's coming up to watch the games tomorrow to see my kid. And he's like, well, shit, I got to get my bets in. And I'm like, oh yeah, you do, because you're able to bet legally. So once you cross that border, you obviously can't get any bets in. So sometimes I'll drive to Gurney Mills, right across the street from Six Flags. They'll just be sitting there placing bets. One time somebody knocked on my window because I had my head down. They thought I was dead.
That's funny.
That's when you know you're a degenerate.
So it's good because when I go home to Indiana, so I'm going home for the pregame on Sunday. So I'll be able to, but I can use BetMGM in Indiana, and I can't use them here. It's funny you also mentioned the whole going across state lines. I drove 25 minutes to the corner of Indiana, Illinois, a couple weeks ago because I had some free bets left from BetMGM, and I placed those, and I ended up winning like $150 because of it. So I'm right there with you. It was about a 20-minute drive. Got a little Starbucks, sat in the parking lot, made some bets. But yeah,
it's bullshit. You could even gamble, like the two places that I've lived last, Illinois and Iowa. You could gamble. So in Illinois right now, weed is legal, gambling's legal, and this is the time that I pick to move to. You know,
one other number for you, Cam Akers rushing. I'm at 73.5.
over.
Yeah, and so what I did was I did a parlay of the Jones and Williams overs for rushing. I did a single prop bet of Jamal Williams over 28.5 rushing and receiving. And then I did the 3 parlay of Akers 73.5 over rushing, Williams over 18.5 rushing, and Jones 23.5 receiving. Because I like a lot more dump offs to the running backs from Aaron Rodgers. I also took a look at Aaron Rodgers rushing. He's gonna be running around.
What's that at?
Where is it? 11.5.
Ooh, man,
It's tough.
They juiced that one up, but I mean,
that's right in the sweet spot for Aaron Rodgers, though. Like usually this season, he was about 7.5, 8 yards per game.
I was over every game.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, same here. Now they're adjusting though.
They're getting smart. They're
doing it against the freaking Rams, dude.
Which is the thing. So those are my props. I don't know. We'll get to the next game in a second, but the other receivers. I mean, what do you think about Devontae Adams going against Ramsey? I mean, he's going to get his just because how good of a route runner he is. But I also like Lazard and MVS to have a little bit more action too.
Well, I don't. You know what? Devontae receptions. Now Devontae could go out there and catch 8 balls for 150 yards. And
against anyone.
If you look what Jalen Ramsey did against DK, you know, he was on DK 70% of the snaps. So he's going to be on Devontae a lot, right, but he's not going to be on him the entire game. So they're going to move Devontae around a lot, dude. Devontae, though, I think they're going to try to get him the ball in different ways. I think he's going to line up in the slot. They'll do that little thing where he lines up in the slot. He may get a couple pitches, you know, which are actually they're considered passes, which I still think is bullshit. Like when quarterbacks get to do those little dump offs and they get touchdown passes out of it. So I think they're going to use them different ways. I don't know about over 6. I got it 6.5. As far as the other receivers, I love Aaron Jones in this game. They've juiced my reception number up. So I got it at 3.5. Yeah. The price -150 right now. So if you look at like last year, for example, or this year too, it's like Devontae missed time with injuries. That's the only thing about Devontae is he misses time every once in a while. He gets banged up. So like last year, they went to Kansas City to play the Chiefs on the road, and they didn't have Devontae. And luckily, the Chiefs didn't have Mahomes. They started Matt Moore in that game. But the whole game plan was centered around Aaron Jones, and it was using him as a receiver. They'll split him out wide. He's going to catch 5 to 6 balls minimum in this game, Aaron Jones. That's my favorite prop bet. I'm hammering that. Aaron Jones over 3.5 grabs. I like Jamal Williams. If you could get him at 18.5 rushing over. And then, dude, if you find any A.J. Dillon, I have nothing. If you get like A.J. Dillon, you may get something weird, like over 9.5 yards. If they even have A.J. Dillon props, I think that's worth it. They drafted this guy for a reason in the second round, you know, and you don't know what you're going to get because he had COVID for half of the year. Like he had COVID and it actually like really messed him up. I know that there's, you know, morons out there that think it's like this fake virus, but this healthy 22-year-old dude with the biggest legs I've ever seen in my life was knocked out for weeks. Like, and the weird thing was they'd ask LaFleur, they'd be like, where's A.J. Dillon? He'd be like, I'm not going to talk about that. To the point where like on the radio, I was like, is this guy fucking dead? Seriously, though. Is he all right?
So A.J. Dillon. So one of the things, one of the schools I worked for at IMG was Boston College.
Yeah.
And so at that time they had Harold Landry and A.J. Dillon and Isaac Eidem or whatever his name is. He plays for the Broncos now. And Dillon was right there with Travis Etienne. I mean, Travis Etienne's still in college, which is crazy. But he was right there in terms of another guy, Nyheim Hines, who a game against Boston College, he just went nuts. And so, and I know the Colts don't play anymore, but I won so much money on Nyheim Hines receiving props this season.
All year long.
it was the same number every week. They didn't adjust. So throwing all the money at it, and it really worked. But yeah, AJ Dillon is a beast. I was wrong. The Rodgers over is 9.5. I don't know where I saw 11.5, but it's
9.5 rushing yards.
9.5 rushing yards. That's still it's still right there.
It's worth the sprinkle, dude. Because I mean, here's the thing. You asked me about the other wide receivers.
Yeah,
I don't fucking trust any of them.
Yeah, that's the problem though. Tunyon.
Yes. Oh yeah. Play everything over on him. I think that's another area that the Packers will be able to take advantage of this defense. Not that they're, he's ready to play. And like, okay, this isn't analytically driven. There's no numbers, but I don't know if you read his, if you go on his Twitter and you look at his Player Tribune article, it made me want to run through a wall. This dude is going to be like jazzed up, gassed, ready to go. I could see him catching 6 to 7 balls. I love touchdown props for Tunyon. Rodgers is going to look for him in the red zone. Devontae, man, when Jalen Ramsey's on Devontae, he's going to limit him. All right, I love Devontae. I think Devontae is the best receiver in the league. I think he's the best route runner, and that's not even a homer thing for me to say. It finally took this year for me to replace DeAndre Hopkins. I like the big, tall receivers. Like I love DK. I love AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown at this point, I mean, definitely at this point of his career, but I call like AJ Brown is Julio Jones. If Julio Jones ever caught touchdowns, Julio Jones doesn't do jack shit in the red zone. AJ Brown every week, touchdown props, easy money. But dude, Devontae and Tyreek Hill's up there too, just because he's a burner. But Devontae's the best route runner I've seen in the league in years. He's gonna get.
I'm gonna throw Mike Evans' name in there as well.
Yeah, I like Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans now that he has Tom Brady. For some reason, dude, Jameis never looked for Mike Evans.
Dude, he loved O.J. Howard way more than Mike Evans, which
he loved the other team, unfortunately, way more than anybody on his own. That's why he threw 30 picks, and that's why he's sitting on the sidelines in New Orleans, and he's got a goddamn running back playing over him and Taysom Hill. But so I don't like MVS in this game. Okay. But then again, MVS could catch 5 balls for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then he could have the biggest drop, a drop that'll cost the team. I just don't trust him. Allen Lazard, I like. If you could get like 3.5, maybe. Rodgers loves him on 3rd down. Now, problem with Allen Lazard, he missed a lot of time. He was on the IR this year. So now he's just kind of like, that's the problem. He's like getting back into the offense. The 2 guys that I would like in this game missed so much time that now Rodgers kind of has his guy. Like Rodgers is going to target Devontae. It doesn't matter who's on Devontae. If they double team him, triple team him, Rodgers is going to target him at least 12 times in this game, most likely. You never know who else he's going to go to. Tunyon he's going to go to. So that's, again, even Jamal Williams, I saw his I could get over receptions at 1.5. Jamal's going to catch 2 to 3 balls, maybe even 4 balls in this game. So I love the running backs and the tight ends. And that's about it. I don't like the wide receivers. None of the props in this game.
I threw I'll give you my 2 other bets I have for this game real quick. I did like a secondary parlay. Jamal Williams over 6.5, Tunyon over 32.5. And then I did the secondary receivers just because with Lazard and Scaling, I think 1 pass for each of these guys they can go over, and that's 24.5 for Scaling or Valdez Scaling, and then 36.5 for Lazard. It's a shot in the dark. That whole thing is plus 1358. So I mean it's a shot in the dark, but you only wager $10. Big deal. You'll survive if you don't win that. And then my biggest bet of the game is a touchdown parlay. Aaron Jones, Cam Akers. Plus 258 for them both to score. So I just threw a 25 on that. So, but those are my 2 that I kind of think both will score. Like we mentioned earlier at the top, I don't know which Rams wide receiver is going to catch a touchdown. Higbee's probably going to maybe catch one. So I don't like to say either Woods or Kupp, but and I think there's a better chance that Jones and Akers score than anyone in my book, at least.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm actually going to tell that. I'm going to play that. And then I'm glad that you brought up Higbee because tight ends killed the Packers. So I'm going to look at that actually right now before we move on to Sunday's games. And I'm going to play that. So I like that parlay, the Akers and Aaron Jones. Like Aaron Jones this could be his last game as a Packer, as crazy as that is, man. He's going to be a free agent. He's got a new agent. He fired his agent. He wants to get paid. And I don't know if Green Bay is going to be able to pay him. They got a lot of decisions to make. Corey Linsley is a free agent. He's probably gone. They're not going to pay $11 million for a center a year. Kevin King. There's people that don't love Kevin King, but you really want to get in a position where you're drafting defensive backs every single year. No. So I don't know if they're going to be able to. So Aaron Jones, what I'm saying here, in shorter terms is he's going to ball the fuck out in this
I
game,
think so.
dude. And Cam Akers, dude, I mean, any running back against the Packers. Death taxes and running backs and tight ends butchering the Packers defense. Higbee, dude, oh my God. Here's a 5-unit play. Tyler Higbee, over 2.5 receptions. Does he have COVID?
He's listed here as the 4th likely to score a touchdown here on the touchdown props. So I think he's okay. Yeah.
I am getting his receptions right now over 2.5, minus 115. If you could get this,
I'm at minus 126, but I might throw that into a parlay though. I mean, I could.
This just replaced the Ravens as my favorite bet of the week.
Okay.
I wasn't really. I mean, my props don't really get. I don't really get good numbers until usually game day. I don't really usually look at the props until game day, and then that's kind of what I do Sunday morning because all my bets are already in. That's what I was saying earlier.
Right.
Now, there's times where I get my bets in earlier. Now I've been waiting until Sundays just because of COVID, just to see who the hell's even going to be on the field.
Wait. Going back, you said Jamal Williams, you had at 1.5 catches, right?
Yeah.
At what price?
That one, it was like really juiced up, minus 135, minus 135.
Do you want me to tell you what my over 1.5 is here?
150.
It's plus 134.
Over 1.5 reception.
Looking at it right now.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. I'll take that too. So those are our plays.
Yep, that's it for that game. Yeah.
For Saturday. So I love, and I just played Saturday. Here's mine. Higbee over 2.5 receptions. I love it. I stole your Akers, Aaron Jones parlay. I got plus 225. I love it.
Yeah.
I have the Packers. I don't recommend that play, like that, or play it if you want. I just gave you the numbers. That's telling you to take Green Bay. When they've covered the spread, they're 6-0 against the spread in the Rams against the Rams in their last 6. But I don't know. I can see it being a close game. So I'm on the Packers. I'm on Baltimore plus 3, and then I got Higbee over 2.5 receptions. And then again, I love the Aaron Jones receptions. I think he's going to catch like 6 to 7 balls. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a huge day, and it might not be on the ground, but Rodgers is definitely going to get him the football, especially because, again, it could be his last game in Green Bay, and everybody wants to make money, especially running backs. You only get one big deal, so he's not going to fuck it up in the playoffs. Anything else you got for Saturday, or you want to move to Sunday?
One quick touchdown parlay for the Rams or the Ravens and Bills. Was that Saturday? Yeah, that's Saturday night, right? Yeah.
That's the prime time. Yeah, that's the prime time. That's why I need the Packers to win, or else I won't be able to enjoy my 2 favorite quarterbacks going at it.
That's right. I remember. So I've got both quarterbacks scoring in one parlay, Jackson and Allen. And then in my
Rushing?
Yeah, rushing. Absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
And then my other parlay, I've got Dobbins and I have Dawson Knox. Your touchdown score. Now, I also think Beasley will score. I don't think Diggs scores this weekend. I like Knox and I like my touchdown scores basically for the Bills. I've got Knox, Allen, and Beasley. Now, obviously, anytime Diggs touches the ball, he can score whatever. But I like those 3 a little bit more. And then for the Ravens, I like Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and J.K. Dobbins as your 3 to pick from. Hollywood Brown, he's dead to me, as you mentioned.
Dude, but he's on fucking fire right now.
I know he is, but I also think
Lamar's been going to him, and he's hanging on to the goddamn ball. Him and Mark Andrews.
But that's the thing. There is also this point where he can drop a touchdown pass, and then you're done.
Yeah, he's got the MVS syndrome, though. Yeah, that's the thing. I'd love to play all MVS overs because if he catches one ball, dude, it's going for 70 yards. That guy runs one goddamn route, vertical.
That's the why I have him at over 24.5 because I think maybe he can get me. But yeah, that's all I've got for Saturday. And then obviously teasing down the Packers and the Ravens plus 8, and then Packers at half a point. So those.
Yeah, which actually I'm probably gonna steal that too because I was looking for a teaser this weekend. I may give that one to my dad too.
That's the first teaser I've ever done in my life.
See, I love teasers, but I this year, man, I've been killing sides.
Yeah.
Totals. Again, beginning of the year, my obsession was unders for the first time in my life because that's what made me money last year when I finally started, jumping on them at the second half of the season, like week 9 and on. And then I started to, finally play the overs. And then I especially Atlanta overs. And I do it every year. Since Kyle Shanahan left Atlanta, never I don't know why I play the overs because what they do is they drive, they get into the red zone, and then they can't do jack shit.
Yeah.
They don't do anything in the red zone. So, yeah, I can't hit totals. But my sides I've been killing. And then props, hit or miss. So that's what I got. Moving on to Sunday, let's go with let's do the Chiefs and the Browns first. Kansas City Chiefs, 9.5, some books, 10-point favorites, some books. So the second team that I love in the world besides the Green Bay Packers, my AFC team, is the Cleveland Browns. I love Baker Mayfield. I love Nick Chubb. I do not like Kareem Hunt, but I think he's going to have a pretty big day actually in this game. Revenge game for Kareem Hunt. We're gonna look at Kareem Hunt props because of that. I actually just thought of that. He's playing the freaking Chiefs.
Right.
And I don't know. I love the Browns. I like Kevin Stefanski. I think Kevin Stefanski should be coach of the year. And well, realistically, I think Matt LaFleur should be coach of the year, but he won't because Aaron Rodgers is going to win MVP. So they'll use the excuse that, Matt LaFleur is great, but he's got a Hall of Fame quarterback. Whereas last year, everybody thought Rodgers was done, and Green Bay, moved up in the draft to draft a quarterback, and he still didn't win, despite being a first-year coach that went 13-3. LaFleur should have been coach of the year last year. Stefanski should get it this year. Baker Mayfield, as a rookie, looked great at times, and then they kept Freddie Kitchens, and then he looked like a disaster year 2. He sucked. Stefanski's scripted play calls are up there with LaFleur's. He's not quite Kyle Shanahan yet, but he's a great play caller. So I like the Browns. But the Chiefs, as I said, they haven't covered all season long. But I feel like they've been dicking around. And now that it's playoff time, I think that they win this game by 2 scores. I hate to lay a big number in the playoffs. I like the Chiefs here. I got it at 9.5. I think they win by 10. I'm going with Kansas City and Mahomes here. I think the Browns are a year or 2 away. It was nice to get that. I feel like the first step, and maybe even for the Bills, is getting that first playoff win. Because that's what Lamar, I feel like that's why I like the Ravens so much, because Lamar had never beat Mahomes, right? He'd never won a playoff game, which they overblew. I mean, the dude's been in the league for what, 3 years?
Yes.
And we're stressing out that he's never won a playoff game. I mean, Matthew Stafford is going to be a Hall of Famer. He's been in the league for 13 years, and he's never won a playoff game. Right. So I don't know why Lamar. We know why. I mean, everything Lamar does, they shit on. So I just feel like that's the only thing that concerns me with the Browns, though, is I feel like they got that first playoff win, nice step, but I think the Chiefs just beat the living shit out of them. I don't. Who's covering who in that game?
Nobody.
I'll say this: Cleveland's getting their DB room back from COVID-19. That's a good start. They'll have some healthy corners this week. But I think the Chiefs win here, and I think they roll. And I think they finally cover the spread for the first time since Vietnam.
Let me give you something here for you. The Browns giving up almost 60 yards a game to tight ends. They're giving up the second most fantasy points to tight ends. So you look at Travis Kelce, who you have the discussion with Kelce, Kittle, Waller, and I don't know, whoever else, maybe nobody else you want to throw in for the best top tight end in the game. Travis Kelce, huh?
Tunyon.
Okay, so more of a track record, at least. Travis Kelce is going to have a monster game, and he is definitely one of my touchdown scorers in this game. His yards prop is 86 or 87, and he averages almost 100 yards per game. The only thing with this is the potential for blowout, and then them not throwing as much to Travis Kelce, or maybe not playing as much down line. That's the only thing. I don't think it's going to be, I think it'll be a 2-score game, like you said, but I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be, how do I want to say this? Like maybe 7, 5, 6, 7, 8 point game, and then the Chiefs score late or whatever. I don't think it's going to be the Chiefs up by 28 and then the Browns score a couple late touchdowns. I don't think it's going to be that big. So I think he's going to play, but that's the only thing I can think of with Kelce not hitting me over here.
What do you think about, so I looked at first touchdown, player to score the first touchdown, Travis Kelce plus 550. I got it. You probably have a way better number.
The first touchdowns are just so ridiculous. Like I
don't play them. Fuck those.
No, I've never. Okay, my very first bet I ever made was back in the Super Bowl, the Falcons and the Patriots, when the Patriots came back and won.
28-3 game, the Kyle Shanahan game.
Right. My first bet was a Hayden Hurst first touchdown score, and I put like $20 on it, and he was like plus 2,500 or whatever. He scored the second touchdown, and ever since then, I'm like, I'm good. I'm not touching these.
That's why I don't play parlays, dude. How many times do you lose the last leg of your parlay?
I'll be honest. Sometimes it happens, but on these parlays, it's more likely to hit that like a lot of them
Oh,
don't hit.
no, the props ones I love. I like the
Yeah.
props parlays. The sides I can't fuck with.
No, I know nothing about. Well, I do, but I don't touch that. But so for this game, I've got a Travis Kelce touchdown, a Nick Chubb touchdown, and a Travis Kelce over 87.5 yards. Parlay is a plus 385. So that's kind of where I'm at. My favorites for this game. I mean, Tyreek Hill could have 700 yards receiving. We don't know. Kareem Hunt rushing and receiving is another one to look at as well.
Dude, why is Nick Chubb only 69? I mean, nice first. 69,
Yes.
nice. Why am I getting his rushing yards right now at a very kind of juice price? Minus 120 for over 69.5 yards for Chubb against Kansas City. What's the concern?
Take a look at these. No, what is going on?
And they're getting healthier on the offensive line.
Why? I'm trying to. I don't know why this isn't loading. What's going on?
I'm getting 69.5, and then for Kareem Hunt.
Look at my phone. You said 69.5 for
Chubb.
For Chubb.
Yeah, I love that.
So
do I want to fade that because it's the Kareem Hunt revenge game and I could get his over rushing yards right now 31.5. I could get his receptions over 2.5 plus 115, and I could get his receiving yards over 15.5 receiving yards minus 130.
Looking at Chubb's the 69.5 rushing yards, only 3 times this year did he not go over 69.5 yards.
Yeah,
3 times.
And he's going, and this is the Chiefs,
right? And the Chiefs' rush defense is about middle of the pack. They give up over 100 yards per game to running backs. So I would say a 75-40 type split between these two guys is probably.
Bro, that could be one carry for Chubb though.
Well, exactly.
Oh, I thought you meant yard. Yeah.
And like these totals seem so low. So I would consider a Chubb Hunt rushing parlay maybe, or you pick one and just go all in on one of them. I think. I don't know.
Let me ask you this before I take this Chubb prop, right?
Sure.
And because I kind of want to take the Kareem, I want to take every Chubb over, and I want to take all these Kareem Hunt overs because even though the Chiefs secondary, it is what it is. I don't think Baker's going to throw for 350 yards in this game. Maybe, he
might have to though. He might have to towards the end. You don't know. I mean, that's the only thing.
So do you think? Okay, so I was leaning the over in this game. The total opened up at 55. It went all the way up to 57.5 now because 80% of the bets are on the over. That tells me stay the fuck away from this. But I want to know how many points. I want to know how many points are going to be scored in this game because that may. Because if it's going to be a defensive battle, which I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it's the Chiefs and the Browns, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it is,
you think each team will score what? At least 3 touchdowns, right? You'd think. I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
3.
I know the Chiefs are.
Right. So okay, let's say combined 6 touchdowns guaranteed between the two teams, right? So that's 42 points. You're 2 touchdowns more away from your 57, or you're obviously a little more than your 57. I don't know. Do you see 2 more touchdowns out there? I could see a defensive special teams touchdown for the Chiefs. You never know what Baker, you don't know what happens to Baker. You don't know what's going to happen with Baker here.
Here's
Plus,
the big question.
The Chiefs' return game is so good. They could throw in a touchdown with that. I think 57 is a tough number, but also I would never bet an under with a Chiefs game.
No, not with Mahomes.
No.
But it's like, I just wonder what the game plan is going to be because, Kevin Stefanski wasn't there against Pittsburgh. Obviously, he had COVID-19. He was in his basement.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's insane. So the Chiefs haven't played and you got to remember this, with the Chiefs, what does also concern me a little bit about laying that big number is they haven't played a football game in 3 weeks because they had the bye. The week before that, week 17, they rested all their starters. So if you're Cleveland and you're rolling on offense right now, like Baker was really good against the Steelers, and the Steelers are a mess offensively. But Baker looked pretty damn good against them. And Chubb looked great. They were moving the ball. They scored points. Does Cleveland come out in this game and say, this team's been off for 3 weeks? Let's stick it to them right away. Let's open up some play action. Let's hit them deep. Let's fuck with them a little bit. Or do they come out and try to play conservative and run the football with Chubb and use, Kareem Hunt and try to keep Mahomes on the field and play the time of possession game?
I feel
That's,
like,
or is it, I don't know. That's what's concerning me here with this game.
yeah, I think it's a crapshoot because I think that's how every team tries to attack the Chiefs. Try and keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible. Same with Rodgers. That's how you try and beat. That's how you try and beat Tom. Like that's how you try and beat the great quarterbacks is you try and run the ball. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like you also have two outstanding running backs.
Yeah.
But also I would assume they'll take their early shots because I'm sure they also know they can't get behind 14 points in the first quarter and expect to try and come back and win that ball game.
Dude, put it this way, man. I bet on the Knicks 2 nights in a row. If I'll go down with the Knicks, I'll go down with Nick Chubb not rushing for 70 yards in this game. I think Chubb's going to go for like $120. So I'm playing that. I'm only playing one Kareem Hunt. What do you think I should do? All right, longest reception over 9.5 yards, receiving yard over 50.
That's what I was saying earlier. I think when you go with these backs like the Nyheim Hines, the Kareem Hunts, some of these other guys, I do the rushing and receiving. I combine them because I just feel like you've got guys. Obviously Chubb and Hunt. There's sometimes they'll split series or whatever. But then if there's also the chance that Kareem Hunt gets 4 receiving yards and he could also break a 60-yard run, or he can get the 60 yards in a just dump off pass and do with his feet, or that he doesn't ever touch the ball running, maybe short yardage or whatever, and they just feed Chubb. And maybe Hunt fumbles earlier or twice or something, whatever. And they don't hand the ball off to him again. But if you put both rushing and receiving, you can still hit that number if one part of his game is taken away. So with a guy like Kareem Hunt, I go rushing and receiving yards over 53.5.
You know what? I stopped myself even from playing the Chubb prop, to tell you the truth, because I asked you what would scare you away from it. So again, I just answered my own question. The Chiefs haven't played a game in 3 weeks. Do the Browns come out throwing the football? And let's say that doesn't work out and they find themselves down 2-3 scores. They're going to have to throw, you said, man, they're going to have to throw the football because if they're down and if let's say the Chiefs explode right away, like the Chiefs don't do the regular thing that they've done all year and dick around for the first half and then come alive in the second half and they jump out to a 21-3 lead. Like, how many carries is Chubb going to get in the second half? I mean, he's still your best offensive player, especially since OBJ's done, but it's going to be Baker throwing to Austin Hooper. So maybe, you know what? I got 20 minutes before I got to go back on the air. So we got some time here to kill. Let me check. I think I just discovered greatness here. I think I at least want to play Austin Hooper props. He was awesome last week. And you got to think, if they're down in this game, which I do expect the Chiefs at one point in this game to have at least a 2-score lead, I would assume Baker's going to throw the football a lot. Man, I don't know.
No, I mean that's the thing, man. I just think if you're going to do Kareem Hunt, you go with the rushing and receiving.
I think you got it right.
Yeah.
Because with Hooper, let's say I'll play devil's advocate. They do come out and Chubb's averaging 8 yards per carry. They're obviously not going to drop Baker back 22 times to throw to Austin Hooper, and I need 4 receptions.
There are only a few tight ends in football that I mess with the yardage overs unless there is a huge discrepancy in what teams are giving up against tight ends and what this person is averaging. The only guys the first guys you look at are the guys I told you, Waller, Kelsey, and Kittle. Other than that, unless there's a huge discrepancy, I'm not touching an Austin Hooper over unless Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones are out with COVID. You know what I mean? Something like that would have to happen for me.
Or they're going against Green Bay, like any tight end.
Yeah, or if they're playing a team that just cannot defend the tight end. Then I look at that. What I was gonna say.
Oh, add Cole Kmet to that list, though, please, sir. Dude, his over 2.5s all year long. Okay, not all year long.
For the
second half of the season.
Yeah. What I was gonna say in terms of the, you never know what the game's gonna be like. I made a killing with David Montgomery. Rushing and receiving or receiving, never rushing, because there was no way to know if the Bears would fall behind 17-0 in the first 10 minutes of a ball game. And then Montgomery get no more carries the rest, and the Bears didn't run the ball until Laser took over, which whatever, doesn't matter. And then you finally, like when Nick Foles was playing, you didn't even know David Montgomery was on the roster. Like he just completely disregarded him and Allen Robinson, which is why Nick Foles is a piece of trash. and can go back to, I don't care where he goes, honestly, Alaska for all I care.
He's gonna
But
probably-
he's trash, whatever. So then that's what I was saying with the rushing and receiving. I'm going, you go with the Kareem Hunt rushing receiving. If you're going with the Chubb prop, I mean, I don't know. Chubb never catches any passes out of the backfield, really. So that's a tough thing to do there. And his number over rushing receiving is almost 100 yards. So
yeah, okay, I'm with you on the rushing receiving. Yeah, because then that's got to be the best bet of the day right there.
Yeah,
The Kareem Hunt one, right? Because he's gonna touch the football. He's playing against I hate to be like the revenge factor because, a lot of that's bullshit, dude. I mean, this isn't, Disneyland. This isn't like the movie, like this isn't the new Disney Plus movie that just came out where, Kareem, and plus, I love, I saw on Twitter, somebody was like, Kareem Hunt finally has the chance to get revenge against the team that gave up on him. And I'm like, well, like, let's be fair here. He kicked a woman.
Right. Like, it's not
I mean, like, they didn't like cut him because he was too
because
small.
of performance. Right.
Yeah.
Like people are
and he
so
got a DUI. Like, it wasn't like, he's like the ultimate underdog story. Like, they told him he was too small. He didn't get cut and like, sent to the JV team. Like, he did some bad shit.
Right. Exactly.
But it didn't make sense that they kept Tyreek Hill, or that they drafted him, I should say.
LaShawn McCoy, you think about that?
Yeah.
Didn't LaShawn McCoy do something too? I forget.
Yeah, he did some like really cool. He was like allegedly involved in some crazy shit.
Okay.
Like I don't want to. Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, those are your bets for that game.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's what we got. So my plays so far, as far as sides go, I got the Ravens. I'm gonna take to cover this weekend. I'm gonna take the Packers, but again, I don't recommend that. And I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Most people are probably gonna take the Browns. That's a lot of points, and if they're able to run the football and keep Mahomes on the sidelines, they may be able to keep that game close. I do agree with that, but I'm gonna lay it with Kansas City, and I'm gonna hope for the best. They haven't covered in about 3 months. We'll see if they could do it coming up on Sunday. And then in the primetime matchup on Sunday night, we get old ass Drew Brees against old ass Tom Brady, but old ass Tom Brady is looking young right now. And I don't think Tom Brady, so the Saints obviously won week 1, and then they beat the living shit out of Tampa Bay. They always say you don't want, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. Today on our show, we had on Eric Edholm from Yahoo Sports.
Right.
And I asked him, I said, don't you think that that's kind of bullshit? Because like the last decade, we've seen teams lose to the same team 3 times. You get what I'm saying? I'm tired. A lot though. Like it happens a lot. Like if a team is clearly better, like last year when I was making my case for the Packers to beat the 49ers in the NFC title game, I pulled that shit. And I said, well, it's hard to beat the same team twice. And they beat them even worse the second time.
That was, that was a good game for me. I enjoyed that.
Dude, Tampa Bay is a much different team right now. I mean, I don't care what Brady does in this game. He's not the X factor for me. The X factor for me is who's carrying the football. And it really hasn't mattered. I mean, Ronald Jones has got his this year. Fournette's got his.
I've never liked Ronald Jones, honestly. Ever.
I didn't like him until he played against Green Bay, and then he torched them. But all backs do. That goes back to backs and tight ends against Green Bay are always a lock for the overs. But the defense, they could get after the quarterback. That's the thing here. And I think they're going to be able to get after Drew Brees. I think they're going to beat up Drew Brees. And I like Tampa Bay to cover. I kind of like Tampa Bay to win this game and pull off the upset. And I think maybe we get Rodgers-Brady next week in the NFC title game, which I can't believe I'm saying that after obviously Brady was in New England his whole career in the AFC. It's going to be awesome. I like Tampa Bay here. I feel like the public's probably going to like Tampa Bay a lot here. I think the Saints are clearly the better team, but this is the difference, man, between the NHL playoffs, the NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball playoffs, postseason, and the NFL in March Madness. And that's why I 50%, like I love the NFL and I love March Madness, but it also sucks when you have a dog in that race, a dog in the fight, and they do go down because it's like one fluke performance. Like let's say, the Packers come out against the Rams, a snap goes over Rodgers' head like it did Roethlisberger. They find themselves down 7-0, and then there's a fumble and it's 14-0. One stinker and your season's over. That's the one thing like that I like if, your squad's in it, like the Bucs in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, you have a shitty game, you bounce back game 2. That's what's crazy about the NFL. So I do think that the Saints are the better team, but I think Tampa Bay wins this game. I always back Brady in these spots, man. And if I'm getting points, I'm getting 3 here. I bought it at 4. I bought a point. I don't give a shit who judges. I paid what? -135 +4. If they do go down, I think it's a field goal game. I don't think they get blown out again. Not the way that they did last time. Your thoughts?
And they're obviously part of the teaser that I teased the Bucks. They're +9. There's no way the Saints are winning this game by 10 points.
Do you think the Saints win though? Because I saw like Bill Barnwell's predictions for ESPN, and I like his work a lot. He's got the Saints beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
So I love Drew Brees. This is not something new to people.
Yeah, he's a Purdue guy.
Yeah.
Best thing to come out of Purdue since
Glenn Robinson.
maybe. Yeah. What do you guys at? Name me something that ever works out from Purdue, actually.
Well, I don't know. This is a tough question. Beating
Carson Edwards? Where's
beating
he
IU. Carson Edwards, obviously a good dude.
Is he in Boston still?
Yeah, doesn't play.
He may now. The whole team has COVID.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless he brought it into the locker.
Dakota Mathias played it was in the Sixers starting lineup, and everyone was dead on the Sixers, so that was fun. Not, a lot of Big Ten championships in basketball. Haven't had a tremendous football season since Drew Brees in the Rose Bowl 20 years ago. So not a ton of great things. Other players, Ryan Kerrigan. I mean, you've got some guys.
Yeah, Ryan Kerrigan. There you go.
Yeah. Raheem Mostert broke out last year, Purdue guy. So
yeah, don't mention him right now, please.
I'm so sorry, Packers fans. It's not the greatest, but just like the Bears, not gonna switch. So in this game, plus can they win? Yeah, I think the Saints can win. I actually think the Bucks are the only team that can, as I said, it's the Chiefs and Packers, in my opinion. And then the two teams that can beat both, in my opinion, are the Bills and the Bucks. I don't think the Saints could. Yeah, I think they could, obviously, but I don't think they would. So if the Saints win this week, I'm taking the Packers next week if they win. 100%.
Check this out real quick. The Saints are 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 home playoff games. Man, they're the biggest choke artists. The Saints are. I took the Bears last week. I legitimately, I'm not even just saying this, and I'm not just trying to suck up to you after I just shit all over the Bears and all over Ryan Pace. I thought the Bears could win that football game. They took the Saints to overtime early. I get that's the regular season, and Nick Foles was the starting quarterback. I thought that was a solid matchup for the Bears. The Saints are choke artists. They're notorious choke artists. If it's not the Vikings beating them, they invent new ways to lose playoff games every year, and then the rules get changed for them. And it never matters. They're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 home playoff games. And they're also 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games against a team with a winning record. So I think Tampa Bay wins. Go on, though. And also give me some props for this. I got absolutely nothing for this one.
Real quick. We've got, I don't think I have done, I have not touched any yardage ones, but I've got 2 different touchdown parlays. We've got a Kamara and a Fournette, and then a Mike Evans and a Taysom Hill. I hate Taysom Hill, but he finds a way to score touchdowns in games like this. It's going to be a close game. The Saints are going to do everything they can to score points. Obviously he's going to get touches where I would rather him not touch the football. And, he turns those into points sometimes. It's a good parlay. So Evans and Hill plus 540. And then Fournette and Kamara plus 229. I did do like kind of a guy from each game sort of prop or a thing. I did 2 of those. I've got Kamara in one of them, and then I've also got Chris Godwin in the other one.
Oh yeah.
Because we saw last week, Evans didn't score, but the Bucs scored. Brown and Godwin. So there's 3 guys, and then you've got Gronk and Braid. It's so tough. So I think sometimes Evans is an odd man out, or Evans might have 3 touchdown catches. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're so stacked on offense. You never know. It's kind of like the running back situation. I was playing Ronald Jones overs for a while, and then you never know. Yeah, I mean, is it going to be Fournette that gets the touches? Is it going to be Jones who's healthy, who's not? So, yeah. So those are my plays for the weekend. The ones I love, obviously, the Ravens. I love Tampa Bay. Those are my 2. Those are the 2. I hate the term locks. There's no such thing as a lock. Like anybody that says
no
locks,
idea.
like, I hate in gambling. Twitter is the worst. 5-unit banger at me. I got a lock. You don't have a fucking lock, dude.
I pay
a lock. You would quit your job.
Right. I pay attention to like 2 people.
Yeah.
And, and like, I do all my own research. Like, I don't need there's not like, you and I don't know any less than anyone else that has a show. Like,
Well,
all
like
the
there's
information and all the video, anyone can access that, right?
well, there's like the dude, like the guys in Las Vegas, like the touts, man. It's like they're always, every once in a while I'll get one of those texts. I don't know why. I mean, I've been to Vegas too many times, I guess.
Right.
And it'll be like, I got a 5-unit banger tonight. It's a lock. And I'm like, if you had like, why would you even be doing it anymore? I mean, even if I was a billionaire, I'd probably still place bets. I would never, like, I don't do it dangerously. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Right.
gonna like lose my life or bet my house or like my son on games. I do it for the hobby though. It's fun. It makes the game fun,
It's so
especially
much
like
more
what you do.
fun.
I like what you do because you play the props and the parlays, and that makes it just so fun to watch the game. It's a lot more fun than the sides because there's nothing worse than getting backdoored. And the NFL this year has been all backdoor covers, so the props are great.
Yeah, you like I said, highest scoring year in the history of the world, and so somebody's scoring those touchdowns, and it's usually you can pretty much narrow it down to, there's not most teams don't have 3 viable running backs that are going to score a touchdown. You know how many, and so I tend to, if I'm doing more of a like a for sure like type of a parlay, I lean more towards the running backs just because they can catch the ball out of the backfield. And how many pass interference flags are thrown inside the 5-yard line or the end zone, which
Right.
sets you up first and goal, and you're giving it to your running back. And there's just so much more of a chance of things like that happening. So that's kind of where I go. But yeah, the props are fun. It keeps you entertained. I still watch the games, but this is so much more fun, especially when you win money. Like, who doesn't want to win money?
Exactly.
If you're
It's two
terrible
things
at it,
that you
then yeah,
love,
probably
money
don't do it.
and NFL football. All right, man. Let's do this again on Monday. We'll
Sounds good.
recap what kind of money we won or what kind of money we lost, and we'll go over our bets, and then we'll look at some NBA, and then obviously we'll have NFC Championship game, AFC title game, and hopefully my Packers are playing, and I can torture you as a Bears fan.
That'd be great. Yeah, we'll have way more time for NBA next week and stuff. Obviously, today the biggest thing is the football coming up tomorrow. But
Yeah. I got to be honest, man. Like, it's like, do I want to lose a bunch of money in the NBA tonight and then be playing like to break even, like
Right.
chasing tomorrow, or do I just want to like
I'll be watching
head into tomorrow, up a little cash, and have some fun?
I'll be watching the Bulls tonight. That's pretty much it, and then we'll see about the weekend, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Cool. See you.